Hi everyone, welcome back to this episode of Scholar Spotlight series. Today we are hosting a scholar from RCB Faridabad. So, welcome Anshika to this episode, and I would request you to please introduce yourself, your department, your institute, and a little bit about your degree and research area you are pursuing right now.
Hello, Payal. First of all, thanks for having me. Talking about myself, I'm Anshika, and I am pursuing my MS Ph.D. program from Regional Center for Biotechnology, Faridabad. And I have recently started with the second year of my master's course.
Okay, what are your research areas specifically in like is it in infectious diseases or computational? You can tell us a bit about that.
Since I have just started with the second year of my master's program, so I haven't joined any lab as of now. I will
Okay,
be joining it very soon. So I do not have a designated research area as of now. I'll be having it soon.
sure. So, yeah. So, coming to the selection process for this integrated course, which exam, and also tell us a bit about the cutoffs, interview process. Is there any additional requirement for joining this course? And what makes RCB so special?
Yeah, so in order to get into the MS PhD course at RCB, one has to appear for the GAT-B exam. Um, and I appeared for the GAT-B exam in 2025. I remember the cutoff for general category was around 145. This year, the cutoff is a bit lower since the exam was a bit typical compared to last time. And yeah, that is the only way via which you can get into RCB. And post the declaration of result, it is also followed by an interview process, and everyone who gets to the interview is selected.
Okay. Thanks for letting us know this process. Uh, also, like the people who are like targeting RCB or say GAT-B for next year. So, what all things they should keep in mind so that they can become your juniors essentially.
So GAT-B exam comprises of physics, chemistry, maths, and biology, and the exam is divided into two sets. The first section has mainly physics, chemistry, maths, and the second one is mainly biology. And one of the advantages that GAT-B has over other competitive MSc exams is that it offers a lot of choice. So I feel that if one knows how to, work smartly along with working hard, obviously, one can get through it. And there are two types of aspirants that appear for GAT-B. One who have been preparing for IIT JAM, CUET, and then GAT-B, and some who target only GAT-B. So I feel the first category who have targeted other exams too, if they are continuous with their revision and question practice, they can easily get through the exam. However, the other category who are only targeting the specific exam, I would suggest to first find common areas in their college syllabus and the GAT-B syllabus, and then highlight the ones they haven't covered and study them more rigorously. And then obviously nothing can replace revision and question practice. It is must to give multiple revisions, multiple sets of question practice, and that is the only key to clear competitive exams in my view.
Yeah, thank you, Anshika. And as you mentioned, that revision is the like main concrete thing if you really want to ace in any exam or interview. So thanks for your advice. I hope future aspirants will follow it and they will also succeed like you, and they'll be sitting in front of me next year or so. I hope it will help them. So talking about one of the major challenge for the aspirants, it's time management. They don't know how to manage time for the preparation of these competitive exams while attending regular college. So what's your take on it? Like how did you manage? What will you suggest them to like follow?
Yeah, I agree. It gets a bit tedious to manage college classes and competitive exam preparation simultaneously. But at the end of the day, it's for ourselves only. So we have to manage it somehow. What I personally did was to set targets. So I divided my syllabus and I set targets that before this particular month, I need to complete this chunk of syllabus along with revision and questions. We do not have to be very harsh with ourselves. 4 5 days up and down works, that's very all right. So I feel dividing the syllabus into chunks and giving specified time to each and every portion is the key to manage it along with classes. And one additional thing that comes here is that a lot of syllabus is overlapping. So there are some things what GATB asks us for, and we've already covered it in our college classes. So it is not as tedious. It also depends from the viewpoint we are looking at. So yeah, it's quite manageable. I mean, you have done it, others have done it, so it can be managed.
Yeah, thank you, Anshika. So, as you mentioned, like once you apply to, once you fill the application form for RCB, so depending upon the cutoff threshold, they like few students will be shortlisted for the interview. So, you can tell us a bit about your interview experience and what all they expect from the student. Do they expect some internship knowledge or whatever is essential for the aspirants who are going to attend RCB interview? Please let us know about that.
The only prerequisite that RCB asks for the MS Ph.D interview is that pass the threshold that they have set for interview selection. That is the only prerequisite. They do not ask for anything else. Obviously, you must have completed your bachelor's. You cannot appear in your second year or so. That's essential. And talking about the interview process, the interview is a blend of theory-based questions and experimental questions. So both sort of questions will be asked. For theory-based questions, I usually say that one must prepare 2 to 3 areas of their interest because generally the interview panel asks about the area of interest. So one must try hard that they are able to answer almost every question from those areas. Other than that, I also feel lab calculations are very important. It may sound very basic as we're talking about it right now, but when you're sitting in front of a panel of 15 to 20 experts, the rush you have in head and the level of nervousness one has even makes simple calculation tough. So one must have a bit of practice on it. The third one I would say is to be well versed with basic lab experiments and lab equipments. For example, PCR. One must know the principle of PCR, where is the PCR used. So this must be known to a person. The fourth way I would say is to not lose confidence if you are not getting answer to a specific question. Um, the interview panel is very friendly. They are not there to shame us. They're not there to humiliate us. So they try very best in their capacity to help us with the answers. So one has to be expressive. If I give an example, one of my friends at RCB, she was once sharing her interview experience with me, and she told me that the panel asked her about treadmilling. And she was so nervous at that point that she could not express it verbally. So, what she did instead was she asked the panel, can I please use the whiteboard? Can I please draw it? And they obviously allowed, and that's how she did it. So, it's very okay to respectfully ask the panel for a moment to think for an alternative way of explanation. That's very okay. Talking about my interview, again, they asked me about the areas of my interest. So I stated protein biochemistry as the first area of my interest. They started with questions on stereochemistry. So amino acids, L amino acids, D amino acids. Why is a particular form preferred over the another? And they also asked me that, okay, where is the D form present in nature? I told them it's present in the bacterial pentapeptide. So they asked me, why is it present in the bacterial pentapeptide if it's not present anywhere else? What I conclude from this is that they're not looking for you to know everything, but rather have concept clarity. So having concept clarity is very important. From there, they asked me some numericals in stereoisomerism. We jumped on to some basic landmark experiments in protein biochemistry and Pinson's experiment, Ramachandran plot. And they also asked me some variations of Pinson experiment. What if we remove the denaturant? What if we remove the reducing agent? What is going to happen? Um, then I can recall I was asked some basic lab calculations, as I stated. Uh, and after that, they asked me about another area of my interest, which I stated molecular biology is another area of my interest. So they asked me that, okay, we want you to perform a PCR, but you are not given a thermostable DNA polymerase. How will you perform a PCR now? Uh, so I answered it that, okay, I cannot imagine it without a thermostable DNA polymerase, but maybe we can add the normal polymerase over and over again after every step, but obviously it won't be as efficient as compared to the thermostable polymerase one. So these are some questions I can recall from the interview. So yeah, that is how it went.
Yeah, great. Thanks for sharing your interview experience. I hope future aspirants will get some insights from it, and it's really gonna be helpful for them. So they'll be prepared accordingly. So talking about your like life at institute, uh, how projects work there, do they allow internships, do they help in placements, why did you I know that you had a good rank in GAT-B. Why did you prefer RCB? You would have chosen some other institution as well. So you can tell some things about this.
Okay, I'll start with the campus life as you mentioned. The campus life is great, and except the academic benefits and the hands-on experience we get there. A lot of workshops are conducted, so experts from all over the world they come and they deliver talks, and it's done very regularly. So it kind of helps us step out of the box and actually learn what is happening in real world. Um, the campus is very peaceful. The hostel facilities are great. So overall, it's a very peaceful environment, a very focused environment, and an environment that facilitates research. Um, Talking about why I chose RCB, um, I mean, it is obviously one of the institutes of national importance. So that was one of the major reasons of choosing RCB. And as I mentioned, the kind of exposure they give, that was another reason. And I also liked the kind of work they were doing at RCB. So I went through the profiles of some of the scientists and faculty at RCB, and I was drawn towards their work. So that was another reason for choosing it.
Yeah, great. Thanks for letting us know. Um, okay, so if you have to give top three advices to the aspirants, you can tell us in two, three major points what are the do's and don'ts. Like, say if
Uh,
they are, yeah, you can tell us for interview or for the exam or in general also you can tell.
okay. I would say that the first one is to not try to do it all if you do not have enough time. Because this is a mistake I did myself and I've seen others do. So when there's a limited time, we try to do it all. But I feel when there is a limited chunk of time, it's very important to see the pattern of the exam, to see the topics that are asked frequently and focus a bit more on those topics compared to the others. Second one, I would say revision and question practice. There is no match to it. So one has to revise and practice questions regularly. And when we start with question practice, it is very natural to not get all the answers correct. To feel, okay, what have I done? It's very natural, but one gets there eventually. The third one, I mentioned it earlier also, talking about the interview. It's very important to believe in oneself, to maintain the level of confidence you entered the room with, and try and express whatever you know very respectfully. So I feel these 3 points are very important.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Anshika. And if you have to describe your journey in one sentence, any motivational quote or anything that you believe in, you can like share with us?
Oh. There is this one quote by Maya Angelou, and I do not remember it exactly as of now. I just remember the crux of it, and it says that it talks about defeat, and it says that when we are in student life, we should not take defeats very seriously, since defeats are actually stepping stone towards our goals or our aims. So I feel when we are students, it's very important to face defeats because that makes us a better version of ourselves. That is something I believe in.
Yeah, that's great, Anshika. And it's really, we are fortunate enough to host you in this episode. And I remember
No, it's my
how,
pleasure.
yeah, I remember how last year I think last to last year, we sat for a mock interview, and I was impressed by your answers and the way you were, like, the clarity you had in the concepts. So I hope future aspirants will learn some uh, like major things from your experience as you shared in this. And thank you so much for joining.
And again, thanks for having me, Payal. It is always a pleasure talking to you. Also, a big thanks to you for helping aspirants like me and aspirants who are preparing right now. So, a big credit goes to you also.